Hello, everyone. I'm JeanClaude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this Friday night special report entitled Tonight is the Siege of Ottawa, Freedom Convoy, special updates with my two co-hosts, Julie from Maison Jupiter and Janine, of course, from Sending Ravens here, and also Tarot by Janine. And of course, Julie again at Maison Jupiter here on the web and on YouTube at Maison Jupiter. Welcome, Julie and Janine. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Nice to be here.
I'm so excited.
Man, are you guys feeling the energy like I am? I did not sleep a wink last night. My whole body is resonating and freaking out. Like I just like it's a very, very frantic energy. Let me start with you, Janine. How did you sleep last night, and what are you feeling like today?
I actually had a good sleep, but it was short because I got up again really early. I've been doing that. And just watching what's going on and jumping on all my favorite places to see where the news is coming from, looking at my emails. I was just excited to see how things were going. So I slept well, but short. But I got up with a spring in my step, and I'm so excited. I can't explain it. I'm just so excited.
I'm excited too. Julie, how about you? How was your sleep, and how do you feel today?
Oh, I had a hard time falling asleep last night. I think I fell asleep at 4 a.m. So it was a very short sleep, and I feel like I'm feeling this tension, this high energy. So it's a bit stressful, but exciting at the same time.
Right. There's a few people in the chat saying, yeah, me too. I'm feeling this frantic energy. It's been absolutely crazy. We have a great show here for you tonight, guys. We have 2 or maybe 3 guests that are also going to be joining us for special segments. The first guest we have tonight, of course, is my friend JSnip4. You can find him at realistnews.net and at JSnip42 on YouTube. He's going to be leading us into a singing bowl meditation. And the intention, of course, is to send some love and some protection to all of our fellow Canadians and Americans coming over to Ottawa in this amazing convoy for freedom. So that'll be in the next couple of minutes here. We're running just a little bit late starting up here. But first, before we get to that, Janine, can you recap a little bit here? Maybe the last 2 days. For some of the audience members, they might just be tuning in and they're trying to figure out what's happening. They're looking at their 6 o'clock news, and it doesn't seem to be a lot happening. So can you share a little bit? I know you've been on top of all of this. You've been very prolific on your Twitter and your Telegram. So share with the audience here what's been happening in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, yeah. Almost no news, like mainstream news, is covering it. None in the States. They hadn't even heard about it in New York. I got people from New York writing me saying not even a peep, but finally the news broke about it yesterday in New York. One guy brought it to everybody in New York. Unless they were looking on their Twitter and Telegram, they weren't seeing it. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump there is having some fun. Well, of course, the Spanish version of Mr. Trump is having a lot of fun there.
They've been shutting off the cameras, like off and on. You'll see like old footage on the cameras around Ottawa as if there's no people. It's just a ghost town. And we know that's not true. And then you'll see some actual live footage. Yeah, it's just crazy. And now Trudeau's apparently isolating now because of his child. Like every couple of hours, there's a new report on where he's hiding out.
And there's a lot of meme hiding under the chairs, under the tables, behind his mom's skirt. Like it's just like energy. I know.
He's getting roasted. Like even though he came out and said it was just a small fringe, and he said they had basically the wrong ideas. Like I can't remember how he said it.
Unacceptable views, Janine.
Unacceptable views. What? How is that like? He has unacceptable views. The guy's unacceptable on every level. And a lot of people were phoning. There was a phone line you could phone to the RCMP to complain because it was hate speech. Oh, yeah. It's just been everybody's taking punches back and forth. There's rumors that they've got some kind of Antifa situation potential. To hijack the whole thing. The truckers are very aware of it. I've actually been listening in on the CB. There's an app you can get, and Zello, I think it's called Zello, and you can listen, and they're very aware of that, and they've got instructions. It's very well organized. really well organized. So I hope they can sidestep any of that, because of course they know that's coming.
Yeah, and here, of course, Maxime Bernier was having a little bit of fun, breaking news type of meme. He was saying that Trudeau is taking a hardline approach against Russia. He warns Putin that not to invade Ukraine unless his soldiers are fully vaccinated across the border. I just thought that was absolutely funny. Of course, Maxime Bernier has been very busy in the last couple of weeks. He had this huge rally in Toronto, which, of course, was not reported by mainstream. Like, Maxime Bernier in Toronto had this sea of people in front of him and talking about revolution and freedom. Was absolutely amazing. Julie, what are some of the highlights for you here in the last couple of days?
Well, from what I see in the astrology, February is going to be a very busy month for Canada. So I feel like as of February 1st, we're going to see lots of stuff happening. And for me, it's really the date where the big revolution begins. I know it already began, but I feel like February 1st is going to be even bigger on a worldwide scale.
We're seeing here Cliff posting about the world revolution taking effect here. And of course, he's talking about the siege of Ottawa as being maybe a catalyst for this global revolution. We'll get back to that. And folks, just so you know, a big thank you for you all now joining us here on this live interactive show on Friday night. We are going to be covering some of the news, but we're also going to be going into the astrology. As just Julie said here, there's 4 specific dates, I believe, or 5 for the month of February that are very critical here in the context of this revolution. And we're also going to be looking at the birth chart of JT himself and how perhaps things are not looking too good for him. So it'll be interesting to get in all those details and, of course, mix the tarot in there and see what universe and Janine can add here to kind of make us glean into the future here the next couple of hours and next couple of days here in Ottawa, and how that's going to transpire around the world. So a very big show here tonight. I wanted to bring up this last little cute, funny thing here. Of course, how karma is a bitch. Irony is a bitch also. Of course, Trudeau is talking about, they ran all these trial balloons that Janine was saying. It's like, oh, they're terrorists, they're white supremacists, they're this and they're that, they're horrible people with unacceptable views. And of course, there's just a fringe small minority, a few million people strong and people supporting them. But this was interesting because this was a tweet from his Twitter official Government of Canada Twitter, and he was basically thanking all the truckers for keeping the shelves full during the pandemic, and he was asking us to treat them with kindness. So maybe he should take his own advice, or maybe delete this tweet because it's not conjunct with everything he's saying now. It's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, Janine, before we get Joe on the screen here, I think he's in the screening room now. Can you pull some cards and see what universe can tell us in terms of setting the intentions for this particular broadcast, bringing the energy of this particular broadcast here in support for peaceful resolution and for security and love and harmony for all of our amazing truckers in this freedom convoy? What can the cards tell us in terms of setting that frequency and tone?
Well, this is in the past, so there's definitely some hidden things afloat that are nefarious. I'm thinking that's all those people that might have, that news came out that they might have got paid off, and I won't say the name of them anymore on the live. Okay, but this is in the now. So what we're doing is we're going to help bring the balance, because those guys want to throw it off balance. That's what they're paid to do. Okay, they're paid kind of, soldiers, really. That's trouble. Okay, and of course they're hidden amongst what would appear to be just regular folks joining in. So they're going to be made to look like, okay, but I think they've got it handled, like I said, with this card, or so far it's looking like that. Here's in the middle. So a lot of people energetically are expecting it, because this is in the playbook of Trudeau's government. It's one of his, the guy's full of tricks, right?
Yeah.
Like even the fact that he's back in power is a trick, let me tell you. There had to be some sleight of hand to get him back here, because everyone's throwing rocks at him. So how'd he get back in there? It's fascinating. Okay, I'd throw him in there with Mr. B team, Okay, see that 2 there? So it's going to be tricky for sure, but maybe we can tip the balance. This is a minor arcana, so it's going to be like there's going to be tit for tat, and there's going to be like this move and that move, and our energy maybe can help help the balance in the favor of the humans, so the truckers.
Mhm.
Right, we can help because we've got it's still up in the air how it's going to go, and I think with maybe at the end of our show tonight we can have another look and see if we've tipped the balance any better there.
Oh, I love that. Okay, very good. Now, let me bring up our friend JSnip4. You can find him, of course, at JSnip42 here on YouTube. Joe, Mr. Realist News. How's it going, man?
Hey, pretty good. Just got home in the nick of time.
Nick of time. I love it. Have you been flying your helicopter today? Were you coming to Ottawa
Yes.
to kind of do aerial views? Is that what you're planning for?
Yeah, we'll get the night vision camera on there and everything. Yeah, no, I was doing some lessons, and I just finally got soloed, so I can fly by myself now. But I still have to do a checkout ride with an FAA examiner and all that. But I can at least go fly and practice by myself now. So,
well, congratulations.
Finally got soloed. Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely cool. All right, Joe, when you and I spoke today, we figured, hey, why don't we crack out those singing bowls of yours and prepare a group meditation for the audience here today. How would you like to set the intentions here for this particular meditation?
Yeah, so we know our friend Woo Woo Dude still recovering. I talked to him yesterday, I think. Sounds better. I could just hear a little bit of this little crackling thing in his voice that was really powerful before. You just could tell he was sick, and it's just barely there. So he's recovering, slowly but surely. It's looking good. So this, I'd say is for him, but also, anybody out there that you can think of, anybody out there who's listening that you can think of that needs a little, high vibe, some white light, some good healing energy or what have you. Because I know people that are, you got to get the job by this day or you're fired, and they're like, I'm going to just get fired. They don't know what they're going to do. How am I going to make money?
Yeah.
The truckers, all these people, this is for them. This is everybody on, in any kind of battle right now, essentially, is how I'm going to say that.
Okay. I love it. All righty. You ready to go, Joe?
Yep.
All right. Let's do this.
Here we go. I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
I love that. Of course. A guy said, hey, my balls are vibrating. Yeah, a bunch of people saying, wow, that was amazing. Yes, so thank you, Joe, for that. I appreciate that. Let me ask you, you were copied on that email that Cliff sent me a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now, saying, good luck, JC.
Yeah.
And it kind of freaked me out because I'm like, why is he singling me out? What the hell's happening to me? Why do I need help?
It's mainly Canada, and you happen to be up there.
Right. So I guess he was forecasting all this, and he responded, oh, like politicians running on the streets, cars, trucks. I was like, what are you talking about? So
Yeah. Yep. He called it.
Did you ever expect, Joe, after these last 2 years of weird shit happening around the planet, that perhaps Ottawa would be the epicenter of this huge spark across the world? Did you expect that?
I mean, not even. And again, that tweet is fantastic. I love it because you could just copy that over all that, and he's calling them terrorists now. Excuse me, was that you? That's you, bro? And he's gonna quarantine right now. You little sissy, we know what you're doing. Be a man and stand up. You know, if you're so tough. And he just remember when he was going on his little campaign trail. You know, like she said, how did he get put back in office? Give me a break.
Yeah.
And again, almost nobody showing up. And people are booing the hell out of him. And then they got to the point where he couldn't go to this one. He canceled that one. He just couldn't even show up. So now he's got these truckers coming on his back door. And he just can't handle it. He cannot handle the heat. This guy is incredible.
It's absolutely funny because as soon as I saw that speech where he's talking about this small fringe minority holding unacceptable views, of course, and I was reminded of Baghdad Bob, the propaganda minister under Saddam Hussein, who, of course, in front of the camera was saying, "Oh, don't worry, we have the situation under control. The infidels are leaving." And behind him, of course, they were tearing down the statue of Saddam Hussein. So it's kind of like, yeah, buddy, is this in fact Trudeau's Baghdad Bob moment with that phrase? Yeah. Maybe, because if you look at all the memes being put out in the last 24 hours, I mean, oh my God.
Oh, it's going crazy. Yeah.
Going crazy.
It's just out of control.
Yeah. Janine, what did you think of the singing bowls? Had you heard Joe play before?
I've never heard Joe play, but I do love singing bowls. Yeah, it just does something. Like you just go somewhere else. At least I do.
And I'll tell you, what's nice? It takes the bigger ones, really. Like, I've been buying a set. They look kind of big online. You're like, oh, they're kind of small when you get them. But it's like I had to buy them like individually. Like, okay, so I got these. Like one's a 12-inch, one's a 15-inch, one's a 10-inch. And they have these little deals here that you set them on or whatever. And you can do that, or sometimes if it's just right on a person, you could do it without them. And you'll let, like my wife, we would. Some friends even they lay down, and a nice massage table is good because you don't have to massage them, but it's just perfect. It's right height and stuff. And you could set 2 or 3 bowls on them, by their neck or by their head and their neck. Then one like middle back, one lower back, that kind of thing. And then you just ring them basically, and that little vibration that you feel it just goes through your body. And then of course you can set up something where I have these little plastic fake pillars that are just high enough so that I could like surround somebody on the table. And then you could just ring it right by their head, so you kind of surround their head, and you don't only hear it, you feel it. So it's a real interesting experience. It's very pleasant though,
Yeah. Joe, before we let you go, first of all, a big thank you for supporting us tonight and supporting all of our truckers and the beautiful audience here, because we're all feeling a little bit antsy, especially the Canadians. And the closer you are to the epicenter, the more we're feeling all of this frantic energy. So the singing bowls were
I got a helicopter thinking we're going to use this thing in New Mexico. I'm realizing I'm coming to rescue you. Yeah. I'm going to be sending a rope down. You're going to hang on, and I'm going to have to get you out of there.
I'll be filming with my camera as we go around the Parliament building, because of course they're shutting down a lot of the security feeds, and it was like, oh yeah, they're all down for maintenance all of a sudden. It's
of course.
Imagine
play
that.
the old footage. Yeah, like you said, play the old footage.
Do you, Joe, before we let you go, was there anything in the WebBot data that suggested maybe this time in some of the old, maybe 2016, 17 bare naked wealth reports, as we're seeing the degradation of the dollar, is there anything here that we can share with the audience that suddenly makes sense to you now that perhaps didn't make sense way back when we were reading those reports? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, the death of the dollar stuff, all these trillions that we've printed over the last few years, just unbelievable. And then with COVID, they tried to shut everything down. And they did and didn't, so I didn't have nearly as the impact as I thought. But again, the plan was so much damage has happened. We have to now implement this socialistic, communistic system because the virus made us shut everything down. Sorry about that. But it's like, well, no, you made me shut it down.
Yeah.
But it didn't work quite as good as they hoped. So anyways, they built all this debt up, and then we keep hearing about the Great Reset. So it's like there's probably going to be what we'll call a controlled demolition of the dollar. And people are gonna rush into metals and crypto, and I just saw today. Oh, the Biden administration is thinking about doing executive action on crypto regulation because it's a national security matter. I'm going, national security, huh? Okay, so again, how it works. Sometimes they'll say something that smack the market down, but then if they do it again, I'm buying more because we think it's gonna go back up. So yeah, but again, the BloodBot talked about the death of the dollar. There'd be a panic to own gold and silver. Then later on, his data said, oh, there's actually going to be a panic to own crypto, Bitcoin and others. So what's that panic about? And it was kind of based on the same other stuff. People are going to realize that this old system is broken. It's not working. I don't want to put my money in any of the old part of the system. What else can I do? Well, here's a digital thing. It's real simple to set up. Oh, I got crypto now in my own wallet. And those of us holding it now, you know, when the rest of the people figure it out, we're going to be sitting really pretty. But we didn't get into this for some greedy purposes. You know, just like I can see what's happening. I want to protect myself, protect my family, protect my friends, doing YouTube videos, protect everybody out there. Just, you know, you don't have to do what we do or I do, but here's what I'm doing. I'm buying this coin. I'm selling this coin and, you know, that kind of thing, because I think it's going to save our bacon one day, you know, and that one day I think it's getting closer and closer.
Yeah. And folks, if you're into that now and you're starting to realize all of this and you want to get a leg up on your education, please do go and check out at beyondmystic.net/pay-per-view. This is where Joe and I put together this almost 2.5 hour crash course here on how to get started, how to get your exchange set up, your wallet set up, and all of the security. And we've just produced also an addendum to that on security measures. There's a lot of thieves out there and scams going around, so you need to be aware of that as well. As we move into self-responsibility and being your own bank, you need to be well educated here, unless you want to be separated from you and your money, as the old saying goes. All right, Joe, maybe one last time here, you were talking about this Klaus Schwab thing here and the New World Order failing. I thought it was absolutely fabulous to see that some pictures were coming out of him, and I think Cliff was posting that earlier today. It was our friend Klaus Schwab on the beach somewhere, and I apologize for the audience if you're having dinner right now. You might want to avert your eyes, but these are the people who are ruling you right now with their whole idea of this global reset, where by 2030 you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The architect is on the screen now. So Joe, any last words before you go tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's horrifying.
I know, right?
Yeah, but again, these are the people, and just like Justin and his old blackface thing, and the other politicians, their blackface thing, these racist people, how the hell are they getting reelected? Well, I better not say it on YouTube.
Yeah, no, be careful.
Yeah, somehow they're getting in there. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. So let me bring up. Yeah, exactly. And that touches what's happening in the United States. And Joe, maybe we'll do a part 2 of this show, because now today I heard in the news also that after Ottawa, they're pointing their rigs and their trucks to Washington, D.C. So this will be very interesting. Partie reprise ou partie remise, I believe in French. So we'll be following this convoy very closely as it leaves Ottawa. We'll see what the details are here, and then maybe perhaps in the United States. But we're also seeing reports in Europe where these trucker convoys are getting together. And here in Canada, the good news also, the farmers are backing them. So we're seeing now the big tractors and the combines joining.
And GoFundMe stopped their thing, and everyone's shutting them down. And they're like, well, here's another way to get to them. Everyone's trying to give us crypto addresses. We'll give them crypto, So
right.
Where there's a will, again, here comes crypto to prove a point. Like, wow, we could use this. Absolutely. As a people, a society, a world, across the world, our different societies can use this for our benefit and others' benefit. So this is cool.
Hey, Joe, before you go, let the audience know here how they can find you on Patreon and what you have for the people who are just starting out in crypto, and those also who perhaps are already there but want to leg up and do some maybe trading with some bags here.
Yep. So my normal membership in the middle is $20 US a month. The one on the right, the Elite, is $40. That's just for someone who, wants to ask me a direct question. I get back to you. I'll give you an answer, whatever I know about your question or whatever, it's one-on-one kind of a thing. But as far as I've been getting dreams for the last couple of years of all kinds of stuff, not just crypto, but matter of fact, more other stuff than crypto. But sometimes crypto comes in. I go, holy crap, they just gave me this number, this price on this coin. And it's like way, way lower than it is now. And everyone thinks it's crazy for me to even say this. And then up until recently, it was like crazy. December, most of my numbers hit. January, another number hit, and I have one left. That's XRP.
Yeah.
And I go, whoa. And I'm thinking how long ago they gave me the Theta Dream.
Yeah.
And the number they gave me, it was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 or so, something like that cents off from 9 months ago. And I'm going, oh my God, this isn't, how the hell do they do it? But I
remember a couple of months you were getting a lot of flack for some of these predictions on YouTube, and people were laughing at you and all this. And I'm like,
actually, now that's the kind of lesson a little bit like, okay, that son of a bitch came out here a few times now. You did say it in advance, all right. But
I got to say, you had balls of steel because you stayed to your convictions, and here we are now hitting those numbers. And a lot of people are saying, God damn it, Joe was right again. So, Joe.
I'm not trying to be, it's not about me being right. It's just like, I'm going to do this. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I got a dream. I'm going to do this. And then the other day, the dream, just real quick, there was a Amtrak train going by. It was a locomotive, and there was 4 other additional cars behind it. And that was my dream about Matic, saying, yes, that's the coin that's going to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days after that, I'm taking my daughter. She wants some flower pots to start growing some flowers. I go, all right, let's go over to Home Depot. Driving over there. Oh, train's coming. All right. And I get this feeling, you better look over there right now and watch that thing. Like, extreme importance. Watch it. So I'm staring at it. It's an Amtrak, and it has 4 cars. It looks just like the one in my dream. I mean, because it's the same exact setup. And I'm like, something just laser focused. Watch this freaking train. And I look at, and I see the big giant numbers off the locomotive. And I think it was 134. And then I got back to like home and all that. I go, I'm supposed to post this on Patreon. I go, but I never, this is not going to sound stupid. I go, but I got to post this. And I go, say guys, like, I don't normally post stuff unless it's a dream, but I just saw the train in my dream go by me in real life, and something was screaming at me to stare at this thing. And I saw the number 134, or maybe it was 143. I can't remember now. I'm sorry I didn't write it down. And this is like, Matic is $2.30, 40 cents or something.
Mm-hmm.
It went down to $1.31. And I'm going, oh my God. And so I bought out a Coinbase bank account time. I've used up all my stable coin. So now I sit and wait. So anyways, I'm getting this stuff, and I'm hoping that, a lot of people will listen and change your life, because I'm out of debt completely. Yeah. And I want everybody else to be out of debt. I want you to pay your house off. I want you to pay your cars off. Yeah. Because shit is just going to, it's not going to get fixed fast, I don't think, what we're dealing with. And things are just going to probably get worse and worse and worse as these people try to hang on for dear life for power.
Yeah.
See, we hodl for coins. They hodl for their power, because they know if they get out of power, they're in deep, deep, deep trouble.
Exactly.
So voting machines and all these things are clinging to, but who knows how long it's going to last, So anyways, get out of debt while you can, man. And I'm hoping I can help you.
Yeah, well, there you go, folks. If you want to hand up on there, you can check it out at patreon.com/JasonIt4. And you can also find him on his YouTube channel here. A lot of free stuff there as well at JasonIt4 He lost his channel just recently also because of the censorship, and he's rebuilding his community. So please go over to JasonIt4 and hit that subscribe button. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for the singing bowls, man. I really appreciate you. Have a good night. And we'll see you next week for the next episode of the Wacky Woo. We're going to have a lot of fun.
And we're going to have to schedule 3 Dudes in a Desert at some point, and I think tell our official story.
Okay, absolutely.
No hurry, but soon enough, I think. So
okay.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Good. Thanks a lot, Joe. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, folks, that was our friend JasonIt4 Janine, what can we do here to start? Do you guys want to start with the Astro right now? Do you want to start with our first day? Julie, how do you want to go from here? I'm scanning the news to see if there's anything that's going to be breaking during this live chat. So guys, if you're in the live stream now and you see things that you want me to bring up, please give them to me with some links. If you are the moderators, also please flag them for me. We'll try to do our best here to cover the events that are already happening now in Ottawa. But Janine, how do you want to go from here? Do you want to start with the first date in astrology and then pick some cards, or is there anything else right now screaming at you based on the meditation, or perhaps any influence you're getting from the screen right now? What do you think, Janine?
I think we should go with the astrology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that. Okay. So Julie, let me bring you up on the screen here as well and go to your share screen. Now, this is the first date of importance for the month of February. Is that correct?
Yes. So it is the February 1st new moon that we're going to have in the sign of Aquarius. So you can see here we have the sun and moon in the exact same position, exact same degree. That means it's a new moon. So when we have a new moon, it means a new cycle begins. But this one is a bit special. It's going to be a tougher one because we have very close to it the planet Saturn, which means new rules, new regulations. And Saturn also talks about the authority, so governments. So we can talk about new rules, maybe new centralized crypto. But here in the case of the chart of Canada, so in the inside chart, I know it's a lot of complicated symbols. I'm going to try to walk you over it in a simple way. So in the chart of Canada, as you can see, it is in the inside circle. This is the birth chart of Canada. And the outside circle, it's the planets in the sky on February 1st, so at the time of the new moon. So what's important about this new moon is that in the case of Canada, it's going to oppose Canada's natal Mercury. So why Mercury is important here? It's because Mercury rules all sorts of vehicles, including trucks. So we have on one side the authority trying to block something that is coming up. And at the same time, we have this Mercury here, which means in the 10th house. So getting a lot of publicity, getting a lot of exposure. 10th house is also worldwide exposure. So it's going to be very big. It's going, well, it already went viral, but I think it's going to go even more public and even more viral than it is right now. And international too, as a start of a big resistance here.
Mm-hmm.
So we can also think that the governments are going to try to put rules to try to stop that, because we have Saturn involved in the new moon, and in the sign of Aquarius, being trying to control the people. So maybe new rules, maybe a new lockdown. So yeah, let's see, Janine, what do you think?
Okay. Can I just mention something about the moon position there?
Sure.
So it's a new moon. So to me, that's always like the tide goes out on the new moon. So the tide's out with the new moon, and out with the tide. So it goes out. You can see how far the tide goes out on a new moon. And basically we can use that energy in a ritual. Like if people want to get out on that moon or just before it, and because it's a perfect time to send out energy you don't want anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are we sending out? The government that it no longer serves us. So it's brilliant that the government energy is in that new moon place, and it's across from the Gemini energy. And the Gemini, yeah, it's about the trucks, but could also be about Mercury being about communication. So they're obviously going to try to block communication, but I think it'll be weak on a new moon, and the communication of the truckers being in the 10th house could be stronger. So the world will speak. It might even make the mainstream media look really bad or go down.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I forgot to say, it's going to activate too the square between Uranus and Saturn. So it's going to be a big tension point on February 1st, and the days coming. So resistance, old world versus new world. Yeah, in a big way.
Okay. Can we see if we can get some further data from the cards as well?
Sure.
Because a lot of people are thinking, well, is this going to happen this weekend? Are we going to hit the main crux of it next weekend? They said they might be here for 3 weeks. Some of them are set up with their little camping stoves and portable toilets, and they're not going anywhere. But it's interesting to kind of see what the astrology would have in terms of maybe picking out the important dates here.
Okay, so this is the truckers cards for the first, so for that new moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a breakthrough that day, okay, but they've also experienced some tough things, some setbacks by then. So this weekend, we know they got stuff planned to set those guys back, but they have a breakthrough, and the breakthrough is like it has been a rough weekend for a lot of them. And the breakthrough is news getting out. So it breaks through, and the way they're seen in the mainstream media and or whatever media will pick them up is way more positive than what they're being. So the fight is between how they're seen, right? And it feels like they actually win that one, but not after some losses this weekend. So they're going to hammer them hard this weekend. And this is the government that they're up against, because they're up against, like Trudeau's gang, who are, fascinating. We'll just say that. And here we've got, so they're going to be taking a lot of risks and pushing it. They're going to take really big risks. Like they've already done that with a couple of things that Trudeau was known to say. Literally sounded like he was the racist. The way he was saying they basically weren't allowed to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They had the wrong opinion. Okay, that makes no sense to the kind of woke stuff they've been dribble it out for years now, turned us all into a bunch of wokesters. Okay,
Yeah.
but we can use that against them, and that's what everybody was doing. They were calling that line and saying, "You guys are hate speeching us." They are. They're literally hate speeching a bunch of truckers.
Right.
Okay, so
And
here
all
we-
the bystanders with their kids
Yeah.
and their families, giving them hot
Yeah.
chocolate and food, like absolutely
Totally.
incredible. Yeah.
they even had the Amish out there.
Yeah. I
They
saw
had the
that.
Amish supporting them, and the
The
Hutterites.
horse and buggies are out to join the
You know what I'm
convoy.
saying? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, you can't lump all of those together as racist. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes no sense that many truckers could all be racist. It's absurd.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're going to push it, and they're going to do big ego steps that will get them into big trouble. So the truckers are actually safe in a way, it looks like, because they break through and get a better, everybody in the world sees them as more believable than the government. So Trudeau's government ends up looking like schmucks on the world stage. It's already happening. It's already happening.
Absolutely. Okay.
And I forgot something about this this new moon. Also, Canada is having also at the same time here their Jupiter return. So when you were talking about feeling protected and united, it's in the sign of Pisces, which is merging into one. So dissolving barriers, borders between provinces. So it's a very high spiritual energy of divine protection also that is here. And it says that if we work in a united way, as we are right now, we are under divine protection, and things can go, they can move mountains, basically. That's what it says.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay. Okay, so this was the February 1st new moon. What's next here in terms of astrology?
So on the February 3rd, I'm just going to get the chart. February 3rd, Mercury is going direct. So that's important because here we are. So things haven't moved a lot in the charts, but I just wanted to show you here, Mercury is really close to the planet Pluto. And on the 3rd, so it's moving direct again. So we can expect big news coming out, especially as it is so close to the planet Pluto, which talks about financial secrets, talks about secrets from the elites, and also sex secrets. So, but it is, yeah. So what was I checking here? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it makes a sextile. That's it. It makes a sextile. So it means it's a good aspect with Neptune and the moon at the same time. It goes direct. In the 6th house of Canada. So meaning we're talking about health here. So I feel it's going to be a big awakening moment. Everyday people are getting disillusioned by the medical pharmaceutical information they previously believed. So I think it's going to be a good turning point for the information about this whole pandemic regarding health and pharmaceuticals.
Okay, really good. Janine, what's going on? Are you doing a house tour? What's that?
I'm running out of battery, so I had to get my cord.
Oh,
Okay. Hang on. I'm going to.
okay, we'll let you plug that.
Talking.
Okay. Well, while we do that, let's look at some more amazing footage here of all these small fringe minority people and really, really unacceptable people here supporting the convoy. And I just love this. Again, like kids everywhere. And I saw a lot of those videos of those children being proud of their fathers and their mothers who are part of the convoy. And a lot of Canadians are just joining the convoy. That's the amazing part. They're saying, hey, I'm not a trucker. I want to join in. So we're seeing a lot of vehicles join the convoy too. And this is just amazing. The more you watch these videos, the more you realize, oh my God, Canadians are coming together for the first time, maybe like never before. We've had all these campaigns by the federal government of Canadian unity, but none of it really ever stuck the way this is starting to stick right now. We're seeing from coast to coast here that amazing sentiment d'appartenance, that sense of belonging with each other. We're discovering not just who we are, but who we are in the eyes of the world also. And we're taking that leadership there. And I'm absolutely, absolutely proud in this moment to be part of this Canadian revolution. All right, Janine, back to you. So cards here for February 3rd. Let's see what else we can glean for the audience.
Oh boy. Okay. That's a really big breakthrough. A really, really big something shocking comes out. It's to the advantage of us, so the people.
Yeah.
And it leads to the celebration that we're looking for.
Yay.
Whoa.
Yeah. Something shocking's happening right on that day, it looks like. And here we've got, so that's usually my positive government card these days. Mr. T in the white hats comes to mind, or the alliance comes to mind. I wonder if somehow they're working in the background here, or somehow connected either to that convoy and or at least supporting it, and or because they come out of the shadows on this day. There's more like where you start to see that shadow government that I've been talking about. It could lead to shadow government stepping out.
Wow.
And in front of this false one that doesn't have any business in the White House and or the Parliament building or all over the world in the governments. Anybody pushing these agendas are obviously globalists, and they're obviously sold out. So,
well, that's complete conspiracy hogwash, Janine. You and I have been documenting this all last year in our shows. I find it absolutely funny how still the mainstream media is like, wah, but yet it's all here. I know, and this is why this is so hilarious when Mr. T or JT here is out here saying, oh, it's just a small fringe minority. And then you see cameras of real people, and it's like it's a stark opposite reality to what they're trying to tell us. And most Canadians who weren't awake up until now just went, hey, wait a sec. He's lying to us. Yes, he is. Oh my God, absolutely incredible. Julie, any more notes on the 3rd here, based on what Janine just brought up also in terms of the huge breakthrough? And you and I were talking about this the other day. We're trying to plan what day, what's going on. And you mentioned the 3rd as being one of your key dates also.
Yeah, and I think it's going to awaken a lot more people with this Tower card and also this Neptune energy. This tense Neptune energy, I must say. So when Neptune is involved, it means lifting the veil. So disillusion. So getting out of the illusion. So I think, it's going to be maybe a bit disruptive energetically, but well needed.
Okay. And in those revelations, I'll keep my questions for later on. I just want to make sure I don't skew the energy here. Okay. Are we good here for the 3rd? Do you want to move to the next date? Okay.
Yeah. So this is already the chart for the 6th.
Okay.
So this is a date I found interesting because Mars is going to oppose. So Mars is going to be on 9 degrees Capricorn in the sky. It's going to oppose Canada's Sun at 9 degrees Cancer. So this is the identity of Canada. And here we have Mars opposing it directly. So meaning it could be something that has to do with martial law. It could be something that has to do with a lockdown, some sort of action taken against the people, because the Sun in Cancer, it talks about the identity, so the people, the Canadians. And what is interesting is also, so the Canada Sun is at 9 degrees, but the US Sun is at 11 degrees of Cancer too. So meaning they're going to have the same aspect on February 11th. So Canada is going to be on the 6th and US is going to be on the 11th. So I was wondering, is it also maybe the convoy moving to the States? Is it something like that? So, but for sure we can expect maybe military action or some more rules by the government, also because we have the Sun in conjunction with Saturn at the same time. So meaning they're going to try to find a way to stop this convoy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Janine?
Yeah, I agree. So this is the trucker convoy who by this time have stirred everybody up, and people are starting to burn their masks in the streets, take them off in grocery stores more than usual. And of course, you'll still get your hangers on who just love rules and bending over. There's always those types. A bunch of them are part of my family group, unfortunately. Like there's people like that, right, that just won't do that. But a whole lot of people will. To be honest, I was grocery shopping today and I didn't don a mask anywhere. I went 4 different places to 4 different things, different stores I went in. And nobody said a word again, but not just that. There was more people not wearing a mask. And I was prepared with a big speech. I was going to say, you got 50,000 truckers driving to Ottawa on your behalf, and you're still wanting me to wear a mask? Give me a break.
And perhaps now the numbers are already above 100,000 truckers from what we're hearing, and the people, the contingents that is adding to that also from the United States. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So this is the government. So like Julie said, they're going to try their last ditch effort. They're freaking out by now. They're freaking out, and they're going to try to round up as much control as possible. There's going to be a scuttle to lock everybody down in a bad way. Okay, but I got a feeling none of it happens. So it just doesn't work out for them. They have to drop the whole agenda. So these guys are going to play it really well. This is our freedom card. This is going in new territory and not being very threatening. They're not a bit they won't be able to convince anybody watching. The world is watching, and they won't be able to convince anybody that these guys are dangerous. That's where the problem lies, because they need them to be dangerous to call that false martial law thing, whatever it's called in Canada. They need them to be. It's not going to work. Nobody's going to report it as they're threatening. So that's going to be a problem for them. But you're right. So things get a little tense there between the 3rd and the 11th, it looks like.
Yeah. Good.
Julie, anything else to add there?
No, we can move for.
Okay, well, before you do that, I want to show you this. I'm a big fan of The Simpsons, and they had this in 1999. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring that to the beginning of the screen here. There you go.
Look, son, it's one of nature's most beautiful sights, the Convoy.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Hold on. Let me play that again, guys. Hold on.
Sorry about that.
Look, son, it's one of nature's most beautiful sights, the Convoy.
It's so weird. It's kind of like pausing there, but let me go back. So this is Mr. T here getting his advisors, and of course being so afraid, and he's like running out the door.
Oh, wow.
1999, The Simpsons, Convoy, freaking out Mr. T here, JT. Isn't that amazing?
Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, actually, before we get to the next date, Janine, let's pull some cards on this. It's not the first time that The Simpsons predict shit. They had Mr. T in the U.S. with the crystal ball in Israel and all this stuff. They had the Terminator stuff about 9/11. Like, man, what the hell's going on in this realm? How come we have so many predictive things happening from The Simpsons? Let's see what the cards can tell the audience.
Well, yeah, they knew all the secrets. They got the playbook, and they might even have magic working on their side. Okay, but in the past, it looks like they were working some magic, looking at things in the future. I'm thinking maybe they got. Did you guys see that movie Deja Vu with
Denzel Washington?
Denzel, yeah. So they do that little fold time thing. I got a feeling they had some access to that. I'm telling you, because they had some magic working. But
Wow.
The interesting thing is, this is who's controlling them now. But back then, I think they were controlled by the bad guys. I think the good guys took over whoever's running that show. So if we see any new Simpsons predicting programs in the future, or what a predictive programming or whatever, what they do, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be because the good guys got that. But they have some kind of magic they work, and I think it has something to do you guys watch Deja Vu with Denzel.
Mm-hmm. That and also the ET tech and Strawberry Fields on the screen here.
Yeah.
Some Looking Glass technology. Go
That's
look
what
at
they're
the.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fascinating.
they had people feeding them stuff to put it out there. That's probably what's been going on in Hollywood for a really long time.
Wow, absolutely crazy. Okay, Julie, let's get back to your board here. What's next for February?
So my last date that I thought was pretty interesting is that Mercury in the sky is going to oppose on February 19 Canada's Mercury. So this is a very important alignment, especially for the truckers, because Mercury rules trucks. And what I found interesting is both of the Mercuries are going to be in the Leo Aquarius axis, which Leo talks about royalty, leaders, people in power, and Aquarius talks about normal people, so the people. So we're having this big opposition. So in opposition, it means lots of tension. It means like both forces trying to pull on each other's side. And for me, it means so far that the trading and the businesses have benefited the elite in Canada or the biggest companies. But with this opposition, I think we're going to see some results of the trucker convoy, because it's going to start favoring the people, the normal people. So we can see maybe some more abundance back to the normal people. So meaning Mercury in the 4th house. So I think this is going to be a big reversal of power in that sense. So maybe some consequences about the convoy.
Okay, interesting. Janine?
Okay, I wonder if the money system officially crashes or some kind of reset there. Something comes out of like something's rebirths there around the financial system, but not without a big crash.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the full moon on the 16, 17. So it's pretty close to it. Yeah. Makes sense.
Wow. So it'll affect financially, it looks like, which would make sense to the 4th house.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your security, kind of. People's security. So something will happen that's shocking on one hand, or at least surprising, maybe not to us. Okay. Because we're expecting it. Okay. But it births a whole new, more healed, eventually, system. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Wow. And Julie, explain to the audience here how that ties in also to the last Astro Woo Finance. This was the personal zodiac's guide for looking out into the month of February. Recap here for the audience here what we talked about specifically starting on or around the 16th and throughout the year. What was that energy moving forward here in our financial system?
Yeah, so the big energy for 2022 is going to be the financial changes that are going to occur everywhere. So it's going to for sure influence all our lives and the collective also. So with the Astro Woo Finance episode we did in February, we're talking about how it's going to affect every zodiac sign. So in which houses these changes are going to occur for you. And starting in January 18, we had the nodes change axis to go in the financial axis, so meaning Scorpio and Taurus. So the nodes are going to be there for 18 months, meaning that we're going to have eclipses along this axis. So things are going to change in a big faded way in the collective for the finances, and also for all the individuals as well. So it's going to be the major theme for the year is going to be financial changes. So I think this episode is very relevant because it's we're talking about how to best navigate those changes. And I think the big start is going to be in the month of February.
Wow. And for the audience members who want to go through this personal reading here with both you and Janine, this is a 2.5 hour show here. There's a lot of data. Explain to them how best to maximize the data coming out for them, because we're looking at 2 different signs here. Explain that to the audience who perhaps are interested in this episode and how they can really benefit to the maximum here.
So yeah, I recommend looking at your rising sign, first of all, for the predictions, and also your sun sign. So rising sign is going to define your house placement. So you're going to know let's say the new moon that we just talked about in Aquarius, you're going to know in which house it falls for you. So meaning where you can start a new chapter, where you're going to find resistance for you. So first of all, the rising sign is very important for that. And also your sun sign. So the sign that you normally say, like, I'm a Virgo, you're an Aries. So this is the sun sign. So both are very important, but I would favor a little bit more the rising sign because of house placements.
Okay, very good. And for those of you who want a birth chart, a personalized birth chart, of course, Julie is also a graphic designer. She does amazing artwork. You can find your personal birth chart here on Maison Jupiter. And if you use the coupon code BeyondMystic, you can save another additional 10% off of this amazing product. How's it going right now with the purchases? Where are you at in the production? I know you've had quite a big boom of customer requests here in the last couple of days. How's it going?
Well, I worked really hard. I have Saturn right now in my 6th house, which is work and day-to-day life. So I have to say I've been very productive, and now it's getting better. So we're about like a week delay right now, or a little bit less. So pretty good.
Okay, very good. And on the note of the consultations with Sophie also, I saw quite a bit go through since the show last night. For those of you who are looking to book with Sophie, what does the timeline look like now on her schedule?
I think now we're beginning to book the beginning of March. So
okay,
if you want to have a meeting with her, I suggest you book right now because she's very popular.
Okay, very good. Hi, Elisa Herrera is saying, yes, the backstage pass is absolutely amazing. Let me bring that on the screen also for you guys, because with all of these pay-per-views, we keep adding to this production lineup here. And of course, these last Astro Woo Finances added another $400 worth of value to that Insider Access Pass, which is $20 a month here for the yearly pass. And so perhaps a good thing to invest if you like these episodes, to think about the Insider Access Pass. All right. There's one thing I saw on the screen. I want to go back to you, Janine, first, before we go into the JT chart here. You just mentioned something about we have to go a little bit further. As you were explaining here, you're not wearing your mask anymore in the stores, and you're asking people to maybe support the truckers in a different way than just going and waving at them on the side of the street. Explain this chart here, and watch your words a little bit carefully here too. But what can we do for the rest of us here who are not part of this convoy to support this movement for freedom here?
Yeah, just walking in stores with showing your face, and being kind and polite, but absolutely firm, and have your little speech ready in case somebody says anything, which likely they won't actually. Interesting. But it depends, it depends. Obviously, some people will attract that confrontation and other people's won't, or whatever, but have a little speech and talk about, hey, there's all these truckers, like, you guys, have you been paying attention? And then of course, be ready, because they'll probably say, oh, well, I heard they were all a bunch of, what, like, really? Like, don't you think maybe they were smear campaigning them because they're afraid of these guys? This is for all of us. Somebody wrote me and said they were so proud of me for standing up for my principles, because they had asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, here's what I'm doing. And I sent them a bunch of trucker videos, and I said, I'm totally supporting these guys. I'm putting it all over social media, talking about it and putting my way of support on there. I sent him some of tip jar money that we got on Tarot by Janine channel, like that. And the person wrote me back and said, oh, that's so nice that you're sticking up for your principles. And I wrote them back and said, and I do really like this and respect this person, but I needed to be straight. I said, that isn't my principles. What I'm doing is fighting for the rights and freedoms of all people on the earth plane right now, and the future for our children to be a free humanity. So it's not just some cute little principle I'm sticking up for. This is about humanity and freedom, because if we let this go one more second, they're going to clamp us down. We're going to be in Klaus Schwab's agenda.
And don't worry, I won't bring up his picture on the beach again. Don't worry.
Yeah, horrifying. Well, that's what we'll be doing. So we can't, this is serious.
Yeah. And you know what these truckers are showing us here too is we've been told time and time again, I know around the world, but here in Canada, and this was one of my big gripes, the posters. Oh, the majority of Canadians agree. The majority of Canadians agree. Like, stop complaining. The majority of Canadians agree. I'm like, who are these majority Canadians? Like, okay, yes, some of them are, but most of them are not. And I ran this poll here just the last couple of days, and we have 91% of Canadians agreeing here with the small fringe minority that Trudeau is talking about. Of course, this is a small poll, it's 6,000 votes, but still. And we're seeing people on the street now, and this is what it's doing. It's making people realize, wait, maybe I wasn't alone to think that way. I was pressured, I was bullied into making me believe that I was alone, that I had to join the majority, when in fact I was already the majority. And this is perhaps that breakthrough card you guys were talking about, where people realize finally that no, we are the majority, and it's our power, and we gave it away to these guys, and we have the power to take it back. That's what the truckers are showing us right now. So big kudos to our truckers. Like, wow. Suzanne Cano says, the truckers are the tipping point. Yeah, absolutely. Who would have thought? Exactly.
Another weird thing, Mr. Trudeau there, in his little hate speech, he actually said 90% of Canadians are got this going on. Really? I don't think so. Why are all these people having to quit their jobs and back in this trucker thing? No, and I know the truckers aren't only about that. A lot of them are.
Yep.
And a lot of them aren't. They're, I'd say, about half and half from what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing. So it's not about that for them. It's about freedom of choice. Okay. But look around. There's way more people not doing that.
And just for the audience who might not have seen it, let's hear what Mr. Trudeau is trying to tell you. And this, again, is the perfect example of gaslighting. So let me bring that up on the screen and see if I can get his sound back up here.
Small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa, or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing, do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Yeah, and for all of you who did all of that, how's it going? Are you taking a flight today? Are you eating in a restaurant today? Like, did that actually work? No, it didn't. But the least of which is, of course, the small fringe minority here is overpowering this absolute gaslighting narrative very quickly. And at a certain point here, the media will have to report it. And if they don't, it's the kiss of death. Now, we could see some of the politicians wavering today. We saw Erin O'Toole wavering and now supporting the truckers. He had a wishy-washy message there, but at the very least, it's a beginning maybe of a tide turning for a lot of those people who might be seeing these rallies and this reality where the rubber hits the road finally make them realize that, they are not in power. They're not in control. And what you said earlier about the tide, Janine, it made me think of that dicton in French, that saying, oh, the emperor has no clothes. Well, when the tide recedes, we're going to see all the Klaus Schwabs without their bathing suits. We don't want to see it. But yes, indeed, the emperor has no clothes. And a lot of people are seeing that now. All right. Julie, let's get into the chart here for our famous Mr. T here in Canada, JT, and see what the astrology has in store for him. And I hear it's not too good.
Well, I was kind of surprised because I was hoping to find something more, I don't know, like big about like what's going on right now. So that's part of the reason why I think I have to agree with Janine saying that he's been rounded up already, because nothing seems to be very explosive, or like I was expecting to find like a tower moment in his chart, and I didn't really. So, but I'm just gonna point to something I thought was pretty interesting and relevant here. So in his natal chart, he has here his Venus and his North Node in a conjunction in the 6th house. So that makes you a little bit obsessed about money. So it makes you want to acquire money, sometimes in not very moral ways. Also, the 6th house in traditional astrology, it can talk about doing money. Well, we're talking about money now because Venus is the planet of money. And the North Node, it means doing everything you can to acquire money, which is the planet next to it. So it means like being ready for whatever. Sixth house is also the house of war, exploitation, slavery, networks, because it is in Aquarius. And also sixth house is the house of health. So pharmaceutical companies. So it basically tells us the way he made money. And I think it's going to be exposed very soon, because on the February 19, where we have this Mercury opposition with Canada's Mercury, it's going to be here, and it's going to conjunct that very aspect he has in his chart. So meaning, I think we're going to know in a very public way how he made his money, about the contracts with the pharmaceuticals also, and maybe some sex secrets also, according to the networks, So I think this is going to be really big in the media.
Wow. Okay. Janine, do you want to pull some cards on that and see what we can glean?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw this. I shared this one. I don't think you can play it on here. He was the guy from the Second World War, the main character in Germany from the Second World War. We'll just say it like that. And it was like a clip from a movie about that war. And it was like when he realized, that fellow with the little mustache there, he realized that he was hooped. Okay. And it's sort of this famous scene in the movie, but it was all speaking in German, but instead of the real words they were saying, they actually laid out how Mr. Trudeau is totally in that position now, and they made him that guy in the movie. Oh, it was hilarious. I shared it on Telegram. I shared it everywhere. It was a riot, but they literally laid out everything Julie is saying, like all his secrets. It was like whoever put that out there is probably has some intel back, like, because it was like everything you ever suspected he might have been into. Every theory about what he's been up to was in that little clip. It was the upmost funny thing I've seen in a long time, and just shocking, just a riot. Like, I love stuff like that. I was like, oh my goodness.
They've reappropriated that particular movie clip quite a few times in the last number of years, every time more funny than the last one. But this one, was actually, it's pretty good. And of course, he's hysterical, and the generals are all like, oh my God, we're all going to lose our jobs.
It was so funny. Yeah, and it was like laying out all the ways he's been making money. So whoever did that had inside knowledge, I'm telling you.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So first off, I'm going to tell you, he's nowhere to be seen. He's somewhere all by himself. He's probably separate from his family. And he's being held somewhere. The real guy. He's being, so this isn't the real guy. So that's good news. Actually, that's good news. He's long since made deals. Okay, so he's made deals, and if he has been out front for any of this last couple of years, what you saw, if you actually saw him, it was him puppeted, because in the background, he's already made deals with the shadow government. Okay, so I know now I'm sounding like a, what did you say I was? So we
conspiracy theorist?
Yeah.
Hatter?
We already got him. And so what Julie's getting there is, he could have even been processed for all I know here, or he's soon to be, because this is the near future outcome. So the cards are saying, well, this guy's actually somewhere all by himself, really lonely, and being held. So that's the real truth about him. So the chart, really about something going on there. And this stuff will come out about him, is what it looks like.
Yeah, for sure. And I had another aspect in his chart that totally ties in with what you're saying, Janine. He's at the very moment he's having his Chiron return in his 8th house, which is the house of death, of sexuality, traumas. So it's kind of like a karmic return, for him in his 8th house. So when you're having your Chiron opposition, it happens when you're about 50 or 51. So it's usually it's an opportunity to release and heal past karma, and it ends a wounding cycle. But also, if you've done bad things in the past, it can also mean facing the consequences of past actions, which I think is the case right now. And he has this Chiron in Aries in the 8th house, so it can talk about him having traumas. Aries can talk about as an infant, so maybe he had those traumas done to him, and he reenacted this karma to other people. So now it's kind of feels for me like he's having his judgment day right now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
did you just say Judgment Day?
Yeah,
I did.
Created this meme here. Of course, it's the Terminator from Judgment Day. And of course, he's hiding underneath a little table here in this beautiful blue dress and red shoes. Somebody was thinking about something there, Julie. Keep going, Jenny.
Unfortunately, yeah, when I did look at, as a child, he was in one of those cult. I mean, look at his father.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know. Wow. So it's crazy that the astrology and tarot are saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely from one of those families. And it was an arranged marriage. His father only liked very young humans and of the same gender as himself. Yeah. He was famously known to be like unbelievable globalist. We won't get into it, but yeah, so he was likely brought up in the satanic abuse type situation.
Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, and we did a pay-per-view on this a while back. We were looking at other characters, and I think he came up, and yeah, there's a lot there. And I remember having to smudge after that episode. There was a lot there. Hey, Mary Clock, thank you so much for that amazing donation. She says, so humbled to be part of this awesome trucker unity. Thought I am a deplorable fringer, though I am a third. Yeah, we all are, apparently. Thank you for bringing us. Yeah, I could do it more and more. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for the PayPal tip jar tonight. Because I forgot, we were so excited, Janine and I, on Wednesday night. We had so many things going on the live stream. Again, because of this trucker rally, I forgot to give you guys the beautiful pyramid giveaway on Wednesday. So I'm doing that tonight. So to one of you amazing tip jar donators this evening, supporting Janine, Julie, and I, and producing these shows for you guys and trying to keep you up to date and informed and entertained also on a Friday night, we will be giving away this beautiful Esmeralda pyramid. Let's see what Carla has to say about this one.
Hi everyone, this is Carla from Ascension Organize. And today I have a beautiful Esmeralda. Esmeralda, if you know, is also a gemstone, and in the Spanish name is a very dark or deep green color. So I named her that because obviously of her beautiful green color, but also because she reminds me of nature. When I made her, I was thinking of the trees or a forest or a jungle, just a place that is very densely populated by nature. That is also why she has the tree of life symbol on her. But as you know, tiger's eye is used for protection and many other benefits that it has. And she also has aluminum metals. I'll give her another quick turn around so you can see her. And there she is. So I hope you like her, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Carla. And guys, if you're looking at putting our hands on one of these amazing, beautiful creations, you can find Carla now on her own website. She's moved away from Etsy, who is giving her some problems with shadow banning. So she now has her own new website. It's ascensionorganites.com. The link is in the description box below. And don't forget to use the coupon code BeyondMystic to save another 10% on these amazing creations. So thank you so much, Carla. And thank you so much, everyone, in the PayPal tip jar tonight. We didn't get to many questions here as we have a lot of content to develop, but we do absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. You make it possible for Janine and I, and also Julie, of course, to be doing all of these amazing shows for you guys. Janine, we're almost at the end of the show. I'm waiting for another another guest. Mariam Janine is supposed to join us here also to talk about Canadian unity. And perhaps we can start on the cards there. Again, I spoke about it at the beginning of the show. It's important to me how even our kids now, my kids now, are seeing this, and they're having a feeling bubbling up inside of them of this pride, I guess, but they can't explain it yet. Like they're seeing that something's happening. They're seeing daddy's part of something, and then they're seeing, oh my God, things are changing right now. And I believe a lot of Canadians are in that particular realm right now, where they're trying to put their finger on what it is that's starting to make them feel good, perhaps for the first time in a long time. What can the cards tell them about this Canadian unity feeling and energy that is bubbling up here as a groundswell here in Canada?
Mm-hmm. Total freedom here. Because when you don't even know you're enslaved, and then you get cut loose off the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Right? You've been going along thinking that you're doing good for your community. This is what these people are buying. You know what I mean? They're swallowing that. But after a while, it starts to grow old because none of it's working. When you read the box on those, those things, it's obvious they don't work. Like common sense starts kicking in. And I know that my son and his friends are starting to go, okay, like let's get over this already. Could we have a social life again? Like this is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all of a sudden they're seeing an end at like a light at the end of the tunnel and going, wow, we could just say no. It gives people permission. It's like when you walk in the grocery store and someone isn't wearing one of those things, and other people start taking theirs off or feeling kind of foolish for wearing theirs. Do you know what I mean? You can always see it in their eyes. They're either really mad at you or they're really like kind of shy because they got theirs on. You know what I mean? Muzzled up, right? Why are we muzzled up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. That's just virtue signaling at this point. Everybody knows they don't work. It's silly. And they're bad for your health. Do you know what I mean? You're going to ruin your immune system wearing those things. But anyway, so it's giving people permission in a quiet way even. It's not even like, because those truckers are doing the work for them, but they get to support the truckers. There's all kinds of people supporting that. Is cat's gotten out of the bag. Some politicians like brother or cousin or nephew or something pitched in like thousands of dollars. And then that politician had to sort of apologize for it or make an excuse for it. Like there's things like that happening. Like people in the background that have been being quiet about this, like polite Canadians, are just like, this is something they can get behind. It's bringing pride back to Canadians.
Absolutely. And the Americans are joining us also in giving pride back to Canadians. This particular truck convoy has a very specific direct message. I won't read it on the screen, but these are truckers coming from Florida, and we're getting more and more reports now of this amazing convoy here heading for Ottawa. Some of them already here. It started last night. And we could see that on the highway here where I am all day today, moving towards Ottawa. So it's absolutely amazing. All right. My next guest is in the live chat now. Let me see if I can bring up her amazing website. You can find her products here at honeycolony.com. She is, of course, a Canadian, an investigative reporter, and a functional medicine coach. Let's give a big warm welcome to Mariam Janine. Mariam, welcome back to the show.
Also, hi. Julie and Janine.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me, JeanClaude.
Avec plaisir. So how are you doing, Mariam?
Do I look official? Do I look like less sexualized?
We won't talk about your cobwebs here tonight, Mariam. Oh yes. My God. Thank you so much for being on. You were on another show just before you came on this one?
I was on Clay Clark. I was connecting Charles Lieber to Cinco Geo and stuff.
Okay.
But this is where are we? Are we on
Oh
Why?
yeah, we're live on YouTube, and the censorship does apply. So watch your language. Mariam, I'm so happy you're on as a fellow Canadian. You're hailing, of course, from Montreal, Canada. You're expatriated, but your heart, or part of your heart, is still here with Canada. Did you? First of all, let's start there. Did you ever anticipate that perhaps this big turning point in this huge global war would be here in Ottawa, the epicenter? Let's share with the audience here your thoughts on that, and then let's get into that feeling, that sentiment d'appartenance that you have with us fellow Canadians, and how we now are seeing ourselves for the first time here in Canada, but also maybe as a beacon around the world.
Wow, so much. I mean, I've been tracking the movement in Quebec, which is where I'm from, and in Canada, the resistance, if you will. And my very good girlfriend lives in Montreal, where she has to be accompanied now in certain instances. So I've been tracking it. My mom is in Ottawa, and I would have never thought that Ottawa would be an epicenter, and in the blizzarding cold nonetheless. I mean, I have been in DC in January, and that was too cold. So kudos to this spirit. I think in Quebec, at least in Quebec, when the summer comes out, we really have a joie de vivre because we've been indoors. So I'm factoring that in. And to me, it makes it extra special that there's so many people. I wrote to my mom and I said, what do you think, Mommy, of all the truckers? And I went to cut my hair today, and the woman beside me was a snowbird in Toronto. And when we, and I said, so have you heard about the trucker convoy? Because I'm curious to see how much it's getting through when it's so monumental. And she said she'd heard of it, the woman beside me. The woman who was cutting my hair was American from Boston and knew more than the Canadian beside me. So that brought up, well, what does it mean to be a Canadian with this division, right? Because it's almost like, are you for freedom and sovereignty or the government and enslavement? Can I say that? So, and I would have never thought, but it's nice to see, because there is like, oh, a fellow Canadian, especially I have to say from Quebec, let's say like knowing you, JC, there's like a certain simpatico. I've been with someone I've just met, and I was in Costa Rica, and I'm like, are you from Montreal? And it's like, how did you know? I'm like, there's just something. Well, obviously also intuitive, but
Yeah.
There's something, the way they speak. I do think that a lot of Montrealers, being particular, like to swear. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know where you are. Where are you, Julie and Janine? Are you Canadian as well?
I'm from Montreal, yeah.
Oh, do you
Yeah.
swear?
And I do like to swear a lot in French. I have to admit.
And you
I'm a
should.
Westerner. I'm a Calgarian.
Wow. Well, that's a special place. My friend told me that's where she would go. I guess Alberta is a beacon for freedom.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, we have the trifecta. I'm in the middle and east and west, and then you, of course, a part of us here in the United States. And this convoy, now we're hearing from the organizers, is going to point their nose also towards Washington, D.C. Talk about briefly your experience on January 6th, the deadly something we can't talk about, in relation to perhaps what's happening now, and how right now it's going to be more difficult for the mainstream media to propagate that type of narrative, seeing as everybody's wool over their eyes has been lifted here with the huge gaslighting over the year, and also the fact that the mainstream media no longer has that perceived position of authority they used to enjoy. How do you see that transpiring here for Ottawa, having been there last year, and how do you see these demarcations in time to explain to the audience that this time might actually be different and we might be very near to that end?
Yeah, it would seem, I mean, I had assigned to do a story how many times this could have ended, like a listicle of, I want to say with Florida, there is still very much, you know, the snowbirds come here, and there is a spirit of Canada in Florida. You don't have to go very far. You could like throw a rock and find a Quebecer specifically and other Canadians. And I want to say that I have two friends who have escaped. One who was literally having conversations on being married off, and another friend that I knew from high school that was on the same page as me and came a few months ago. So there's a sense of freedom right here. And it would make sense. I caught what you said when I jumped on, that there's a movement of Floridians that are supporting this. I don't know yet to the extent. There are many American truckers, right, that have now joined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And I also want to say, I don't know if you covered the GoFundMe aspect of holding the money for a minute, and that in itself, is that going to wake up people to this company that is basically money laundering Ponzi scheme in bed with big pharma and big tech. So having been, I think it's totally different January 6th in the sense of this is before the fact. How are they possibly going to usurp or paint this? But as I'm saying this, I think of the protests that just occurred in DC, and one reporter who painted it as like, those are violent, folk, and thinking, what is this guy talking about? Violent. And if I can say this, how can I articulate this? That these measures, we don't want bloodshed, right? We want pure, good blood that's not shed. And I don't know, in this case with DC, it was almost like a trap for many of us that were there.
Mm-hmm.
We saw with our own eyes this casting call, this LARP,
Mm-hmm.
this live action role play. And in this case, it's also takes a lot of organization across the entire country in a similar way. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you say. I don't see how this could be really hijacked, but yet it's still happening. So we don't really know how it's going to be portrayed,
Mm-hmm.
because God knows we've all been, living in a comedic tragedy.
Right. Well, I'll get Janine to answer that, because we just talked about that a little bit before you got on the show, on how perhaps the media won't be able to portray it as they did last year, and the alignments in the astrology is also supporting this huge awakening here. You mentioned the GoFundMe. Of course, you are very familiar with financial retribution for speaking the truth. It's been happening to you, to your business, for a number of years. Again, I want to encourage my friends to go and visit you and support you at Honey Colony. A lot of beautiful products there. And of course, you're supporting her in her investigative work, including the trilogy and the book on George Floyd that's coming up. Another big LARP. But going back to GoFundMe, what was interesting, they went even further. Not only did they freeze that bank account, but the Canadian security chief here was saying that people who had donated could also be prosecuted criminally for supporting a terrorist organization. Can you imagine? I mean, there's 77,000 or 80,000 people who donated a few bucks here and there. Of course, these are regular run-of-the-mill, happy-go-lucky Canadians who are now apparently cast with this brush, just as in January 6th. They're trying that again.
Wow.
I don't believe that's going to work. And our friend is in the chat now, and he says he's joining us here for all the swearing. So I'll give him a few swear words in French. Esti de calice de tabarnak. No more, this far, no further. Cliff, that's just for you. Janine, let me bring you up on this.
It's Cliff High. Is it really Cliff High?
Oh, yeah, it's Cliff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Janine.
So as this chat was going on, I'm pulling cards on, are they going to get away with, because they definitely had something planned and even spent a lot of money to have something go down. Okay, so they put out some money to have something go down, and it looks like they're going to have to abandon it. So this guy goes away because something's not working out. Okay, there'll be a small isolated couple of incidences. Okay, so they wasted a lot of money. And it looks like because somebody will let the cat out of the bag what they're up to, which they have been all along. So everything they've tried so far there's enough memes out there describing exactly what they're going to do next. It's just hilarious. Unlike what was happening. Well, it was a little bit happening, the January 6th situation. A lot of people were expecting something to go down, but now it's like everybody's on high alert. So it feels like there might even be somebody officially letting the cat out of the bag and saying what the whole plan was, because that feels like it doesn't even get off the ground, not to nearly what they need it to. And then they don't seem to have the mainstream media's, but mainstream media might not be commenting about the whole situation, but that's going to backfire, it looks like. So because they haven't even said anything about it really, other than maybe repeat a few things that Mr. Trudeau said, hate speech there. Okay, other than that, they didn't have the buildup, like the 6th had the buildup. Okay, so they don't stand a chance. We're taking over the media anyway, like people like us.
Yeah, exactly. And, for those of you who are looking for perhaps tactics and strategies, Cliff High on the screen here has been hard at work in the last year with his Over Woo series here on BitChute. You can find him at bitchute.com/Cliff_High. This last Roy Woo was particularly interesting also, as it touches the nomenclature of the royalty, the regis, the registrations, absolutely fascinating. And of course, he's been doing an amazing job with this war reporting, but this whole concept of the overwoo, where the systems of systems would eventually be subsumed by reality here of the woo. And this is what's happening now, day to day to day. Julie, can you add also here why in the astrology, in your view, this year is very conducive to this overwooing here, simply also because we're going into the age of Aquarius, but also these particular alignments that are basically breaking us out of these old paradigms and structures by the very design of it?
Well, all of last year we had the square between Saturn and Uranus, which is still in orb for the beginning of this year. So it means the battle between the old world, the new world, the revolution, keeping the status quo, the authority. So we're still in that battle at the beginning of 2022. But the big change is Jupiter just moved into the sign of Pisces, which is his own sign, meaning that the spiritual energy is going to be very, very powerful. So lots of people are going to awaken, and I feel like this is going to be the biggest difference of this year if we compare it to last year. So maybe last year Saturn was more in power with the rules, the authority, the regulations, but this year Uranus is going to take over, which is the evolution, the big revolution, the resistance. So and also because we have this spiritual energy that is going to be magnified, so people are going to look for that type of content that we're doing here. People are going to look outside of what is 3D. They're going to want to have answers about like what they're here for, why they're incarnated at the time. So it's going to get bigger than what happened in the last crisis, I think.
Okay. And what was that alignment in the show that you and I did with Sophie, the Divine Feminine Oracles, and Janine back in December? You talked about, I believe it was December 29, how we were moving more towards spirituality as opposed to the 3D materialistic world. How does that tie in here to this overwoo?
Yeah, that's Jupiter entering the sign of Pisces on December 29. So this highlights very much like getting back into one, which is the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is having faith in the universe. And Jupiter also points to where we're going to find value in the world, what we're going to look for as products, services, investments. So all Pisces themes are going to be very important. So healing, getting more knowledge, getting more knowledgeable. That is Pisces. That is Jupiter, I mean. So healing, spirituality, knowledge are going to be very important themes.
Wow, very good. Mariam, you've never been on the show with either Julie or Janine. While you're here, do you have any questions for them, either from the astrological standpoint or from tarot, that perhaps lead into your place in time here? You've been a freedom fighter, a truth teller, an investigative reporter, and you've had You've had some tough times over the last year, of course, fighting this huge machine. Do you want to ask them some questions about maybe what 2022 has in store for you and for the?
I would like to share that I very much see what Julie's saying about there's a renaissance. Of course, people like ourselves and maybe the audience I've been on a spiritual journey since 13, but it's only in the last year that I'm like, oh, I'm clairaudient. I'm psychic with numbers. I'm in the future. Like to really even share that with other people, because I believe we all have our superpowers, but mine kind of broke open with my near-death experience, and I've taken classes to be more grounded or to create protection. And so we've already been on paths, but I feel that there's a lot of people who are waking up, and it's really a time to choose, like a Saturn return in the earth of like, you can't blame things on your outside, and there's an opportunity to really transcend victim stance. And I feel not to be Christian because, I mean, I was raised Christian, but for me, Mother Earth is God, nature is God, our spirit, I say universe. But it also in the past year, I've turned more to my upbringing of Jesus Christ. I know there's books that have been removed on reincarnation, and having almost died, that I have that perspective of the other realms out there, way beyond this earthly realm. And I do feel that people have an opportunity and have decided to use the Rona to go in. There are people who realize it's time to look at your shadow, and that are having conscious conversations, conscious parenting. And this is really a time to come into that. There's no shortage of sheeple. I want to just share that I'm being drawn after a lot of back and forth with myself and my Gemini moon of like, where should I go? Where should I live? I feel that I'm speaking for others as well, because certainly I've spoken to a lot of friends. Unless you have like a family or kids, like you've already found your place, that there's a lot of movement, and it's really taken up a lot of energy.
Mhm.
Because I've been pulled, and I'm still pulled, to go to the jungle. But I want to just share with you in the audience that I went to see a place called Palm Coast, and I was having severe anxiety in my body, even though it was affordable and big. And so this is an invitation also to really get a sense of how you're feeling, not what addictions like sugar or are telling you to feel, but really getting quiet in yourself and trusting. This is an opportunity to really, we're asked to test our faith. And so when I went and I was driving in Florida for 5 hours, and I could see there's very much like a police state vibe, and a lot of cameras, like a lot of Cinco Geo on the boardwalk, for instance, here in Miami. And I just want to share. So I went to see the property, and then I was let into, I had to pick a motel. It was moldy, and I got let into room 101. So room 101 in 1984 is the symbolic prison chamber. And you get to see your own hell, like Winston sees rats, but you get to see, and in mine, I was in a very transhumanist kind of dark vibe where I can energetically tap into that. And it is demonic. There's no question really about it if you are intuitive. But then I realized that it's being projected onto me. Like I'm choosing to, like, just like I choose not to have poisonous foods made by people who don't care about our health, that you get to choose what you consume. It's a little bit trickier if you're a journalist. I'm choosing to spy on like MSM to see what it is they're saying to people. So anyway, all this to say, what's my question? I'm being drawn to go to a place called St. Augustine. And I've looked into, who are you, St. Augustine? I want to share that Robert Malone on Sunday cited this quote by St. Augustine. The truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose. It will defend itself. So that's really interesting because we know that sometimes get buried or it gets co-opted. And so what is the kind of gist of this? We are planting seeds, and if anything, this convoy is going to make people wake up. Will they have the courage to speak out? I know the woman beside me got really quiet and didn't talk again, and we figured out probably why. So will we have the courage? There's a lion in this quote. And so I'm being drawn to St. Augustine. I'd love to look into that. It's the oldest city in the country. There's a star fort. I can tap into it energetically and see there's a lot of history and there's a lot of magic there. It's also near the ocean. So I feel really blessed that I could, after months and months and months, go find a home to have others I'm going to live with, and have a garden and a garage, and like really do what I've always seen. The future for me and for many empaths is not in a smart city.
Right.
So I don't know if there's a question there. I don't see myself stopping. I'm still working on a book, and I really want to be healthy with, our brains, our hearts are being attacked, our humanity. I'm personally dealing with mold. So I feel like there's an invitation for everyone, your listeners, to really, this is your temple. Yes, this is the earthly realm, and it's good to look at the stars to see how it impacts us, because I think it's foolish. The moon impacts the waves. It's silly to not think the planets have, in my opinion, that astrology has an impact on us, and it's a language that you can learn. So I've studied tarot, I've studied astrology, but nothing like, I don't do it comme un métier, like every day, but I dabble in it and I have respect for it. So I don't know if I really have any.
What do you want to do? Like maybe general reading as to what the cards would have to say to your move and to your future here in 2022? Do you want to put it that way?
Sure, that's very sweet. Yes, I would like that. I'd also like to see what happens in relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Janine, you want to take a stab at it? And it's funny, just before you go, Janine, and you pull the cards, you mentioned the lion here in St. Augustine in that speech. And of course, Cliff was referring to this lion speech here by Christopher Walken in this movie. And I've played it a couple of times here. Yes, the lion is indeed awakening here in Canada in earnest. Let's see what Janine has in the cards for you.
Très cool.
Très cool, Cliff High says. Yeah.
Okay, this is really interesting. So cards are funny because they don't always agree with what. So what they want to talk about is not the move, but it's romance for sure. So you're okay with that?
Yes. May I say that I'm going to a Project Veritas event tomorrow, and I am seeing my ex, and I've been told to not interact, to basically pretend that we don't know each other. Just, I don't do pretend very well.
Okay. Well, I'm not getting your ex, okay?
Okay.
But so this card says you're the type who follows their heart no matter what. So even if it's painful, you've always followed your heart. That's just who you are. And this card here is how it's been. So it's been kind of a hard path in the romantic realm. Been in lots of battles, but yeah, you're the type who's not afraid. If your heart tells you, you'll go back in there. Like it hasn't. It's
true.
Your warrioress prowess in the love department. Okay, so and you also like very unique people. Like they have to be. You have a very unique taste. They have to be very unique, and they also have to be full of valor. So that old-fashioned word, they have to actually stand for something and stand up for themselves. You're not going to be, they have to be kind of warriors themselves in a way, but warriors for their own personal, lots of integrity there.
Yes.
You're looking for someone who's truth and integral to themselves and has a real unique personal path. Otherwise, you're not interested. Like you don't want them just to jump on your bandwagon. you need to be fascinated by them.
So
Okay.
true. Can I say something to that?
Yeah.
That is so true, because if someone's like, why are you single? No one's good enough for me. Sorry. I was biking today. I'm like, no. You have to have it going on, buddy, to be able to like roll with me. Okay.
What's that song by Shania Twain? That don't impress me much, or whatever it is. Keep going, Janine.
You will meet someone really soon. I'd say in March. And it'll surprise you. The person may surprise you. I'm thinking we've got dark and handsome, with this part a little younger than you, and very definitely somebody who has a lot of physical prowess. So they take a lot of pride in looking after their physical form. They're into physical health, and but younger though. They're definitely younger, and you'll be surprised at that youthful feeling you get around them, almost like a giggly girl here. It'll sneak up on you, like the emotions you'll feel, because you're actually really a true romantic.
True romantic.
It's all true, Janine. You have no idea how you're
Yeah,
bang on.
Oh, it's nice that you feel that, JeanClaude.
I definitely be careful around someone from your past. Boundaries. Yeah.
You have no idea, Janine. You're bang on. Wow.
Well,
they're part of that.
Yes, I got that. Yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would like. I know it's. If I do have a question tomorrow, I really want to like have fun and meet people, but I'm not very good at pretend. Just to touch on the reading. Thank you. That I started out this journey thinking that I'm going to go get an apartment in Miami, and definitely every day thought about the jungle, and still every day think about the jungle. Now I'm looking to live with 2 other people. And so I've been talking with a friend of mine, and we've been going on, speaking, looking at houses, like dreaming. It's been a really interesting exercise. I want to say that at an event in Nashville, I met this girl, and she came up to me, and she thought I was going to be standoffish, and I was warm, and she said that she was surprised, and we just hit it off. And I totally have a girl crush on her, and she has a girl crush on me, just like as people. And out of the blue, because I've only seen her once, she called, she got a message, call Mariam, and she's like a white witch. And we were on the phone for 3 hours, and she just got a message, call Mariam and get out of Jersey. And so I'm thinking that she's going to come and possibly live with us. And I know that the 3 people that have come together were all into St. Augustine and going to the Fountain of Youth and the ocean. It's a very special place. Anyway, so thank you. And it's nice if I meet someone that actually impresses me. I know that sounds very snobby. I don't really care. So
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you.
Mariam, I really appreciate that.
You both.
Thank you, Mariam. And folks, please do go and support Mariam here. You can find her at honeycolony.com. Use BeyondMystic, yes, as the coupon code for all these amazing products, including the Excelsior silver, chelated silver, absolutely amazing product. And the lube also might interest you guys. The Valentine's Day is coming up, so you might want to check out the personal lube.
Nice. I put the silver in my nebulizer, which so I'll just leave you with that vision. Okay, bonsoir. Bye.
And of course, you can also find her on Twitter at B-Lady. She was just deleted, the last account here, in her abusive relationship with Jack. of Twitter. He's not there anymore, but at any rate, so go find her at beatlady.com. Janine, okay, we are almost there at the 2-hour mark for the show. Last words of wisdom. Actually, do I want to end with you, Julie? Is there anything else here in the astrology that perhaps you missed? You had a few points that we want to talk about tonight. Anything else you want to add to the show, or can we add here with the last words of wisdom from the tarot cards, Julie?
Well, I just want to say that there's a very interesting aspect that we that we're going to have on April 12th, to be exact, because we talked a lot about spiritual energy and this big reversal favoring more the people that did their work and are working in the spiritual world too. So it's going to be, oh, I'm having echo, I think. It's going to be a conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune, which is going to occur in the sign of Pisces. So it's going to start a 13 years cycle, favoring everything that is linked to Jupiter and Neptune. So spirituality, knowledge, teaching, learning, doing healing. So I think this is a very beautiful alignment. And I feel like the spring is going to change very much the energy that we're having right now. So let's keep the hopes.
Okay, very good. I put myself on mute here. There was an echo. Okay, thank you so much for that, Julie. Janine, let's start winding down the show here with last words of wisdom as it pertains to our Canadian truckers here, how we also as Canadians can support this movement of freedom and of hope for not just Canada, but for the rest of the world.
I'm also having a look at, has anything changed since we last looked? Because it was looking really 50-50 where they could get really sabotaged.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm just looking at, okay, so something's come to their attention that was a hidden secret. So some of the sabotage plan has been revealed. So hopefully they'll get that out like they were doing all the way through this. Whenever they found out what was up, they were putting it out there ahead of time. Right? Like Pat King, when he found out they sabotaged him in the media and made him look like a racist and whatever they were doing there.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and got, like I shared it everywhere and lots of people shared it, exactly how they did it. They took a clip and manipulated it and said he had just said it yesterday when in fact it was from months ago and it was about a whole different situation. Anyway, so yeah, they've already discovered some little landmines, and that's good because that means they're on to these guys they're dealing with. They got the playbook too, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the past. Just the love and energy it's generated already has done miracles. So regardless what actually happens, the thing's already blossomed. And it grew so bigger than they ever expected. So it's already taken on a life of its own with all of these other countries getting inspired and, lining up their own, like Italy. They had a big convoy going through their downtown and stuff. Like a whole bunch of things have been inspired. So people are planning things and realizing they could do that too, right? They could do that too. But the sabotage things they've discovered and unearthed, it set them back a little bit and disappointed them. But don't forget that 5s are temporary setbacks. So there's been some things they've discovered that they're trying to shut them down. They maybe shut all the streets down right up into the parliament. Who knows what they're up to, right?
Right.
So, they were trying things all along the route as well, and they were separating some of the convoys, but that got discovered. So they found other ways to join up together. So yeah, they've been sort of troubleshooting it all along, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've much improved since we last looked. We had the 2 of Pentacles at the beginning of the show, which was a 50-50. They're tipped the scales. They're in 6 and the bad guys are in 4 now. So they're already tipping this. Things are going to work out with this 6 better than they even expected. So they've already tipped the scales. There's going to be a few little sabotage things, but it might even just work to their benefit because it looks like they've already routed it out. So maybe they'll put it out there. I will definitely spread. Everybody spread. If you see any story about a sabotage trick, spread it everywhere.
Absolutely.
That's the best thing we can do.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much. That's so cool. And this was my hope in doing this show, that we could help do whatever we can here to bring that energy, move that forward. And from what you're telling here, the momentum is absolutely on our side. So that's very encouraging. A big thank you to all of you who joined us tonight. A big thank you to all of you who are supporting us in the PayPal tip jar. You guys are amazing. You make it possible for us to be out here. Thank you for all those great comments also. And I'm so happy to be be part of all of this, and I can't wait to bring you even more news as we move forward here, and hopefully more and more momentum and more speed is coming our way. Of course, the astrology is supporting that. The energies from space, as Cliff High is saying, also is supporting that now too. Big changes are upon us, and I believe he said something to the effect that in the next 5 years we would have more change in humanity than in the last 1,000 years. So imagine the rate of change that's coming now, and perhaps this is that first catalyst towards that. So again, a big thank you to everyone, and Janine and I are giving back to you guys this evening also by giving away 100 silver 100 out, man, it's a long day. 100 ounce silver bars here to our audience. There's 2 contact forms here in order to enter to win. You don't have to buy anything, just fill out the contact form. We are going to be announcing the winners on February 9th. Both the links here for the American site and for the Canadian giveaway are also in the description box below, and I'll pin them to the top of the comments here at the end of the show. So it's just a question of filling out the form, letting us know what your address is, your mailing address, and of course your email, so that when we pick you, hopefully pick you here on February 9th, we'll know where to send that 100 ounce silver bar. Here in Canada, it is offered by mfbullion.ca, and in the States, it's offered by Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investment. You can find Julie, of course, at maisonjupiter.com. Here you can book a reading with Sophie. Quite a few spots available now in already in March. The booking system is going away really fast in terms of availability. So if you want to have a reading with her, please do so at your earliest convenience at maisonjupiter.com. And of course, you can find Julie and her work here on YouTube at Maison Jupiter. Please do go and subscribe there. Lots of cool shows coming up there as well, including some highlights for the month of February, but also her teachings on the French side with astrology. So that'll be very interesting for our French audience members. And of course, there also, Julie and I have the Odyssée Galactique, completely French series for you guys who speak French and who want to follow us around the world in the langue de Molière, as they say. So go check it out at Maison Jupiter here on YouTube. And finally, you can find Janine, of course, at Tarot by Janine. The last episode here, the navigating psychic energy, is very, very important, and specifically here in these last couple of days of this war. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of you light workers, light warriors, envoys, starseeds are feeling these particular attacks right now as we're heading towards a head here in this spiritual war we find ourselves in. So please do go check that out. Deep dive on Friday with Ashley and Janine, navigating psychic energy. And finally, you can also find her here at Sending Ravens. Folks, this was Siege of Ottawa, the first of many, hopefully, update episodes with you guys. I'm absolutely proud of both Janine and Julie for all of the work they've put together tonight to kind of give you some insights that you wouldn't be getting from the 6 o'clock news, one, but also from that spiritual side. Again, we're moving into that age of Aquarius, and these conversations and these deeper understandings are absolutely critical in order for us to move from that era of being schooled in the age of Pisces to becoming the knowledge bearers ourselves. So thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, Julie. Thank you so much, Janine. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.